In the following video, we will cover the function profile as well as the functional authorization that gets linked to the menu profile that has been previously created. To go to the function profile, select Setup from the left list. In the navigation section, go to Menu Profile. From the left list, select the menu profile that was created. To create the function profile, click on the function profile button from the right list. The following pop-up screen will appear and a few settings can be entered. Either a default site can be entered, which will be applied to all function profiles. Under authorized site, there are two different types that can be entered. So if you click on the drop down, you've either got site grouping or site. Site grouping will give the user access to all sites within Sage X3. If the user selects site, a specific site needs to be specified to give access to. For this example, we'll select site grouping and we'll tab away. In the grouping by site, we'll select Akisa, and in the options section, we'll click on the selection icon. The options that are listed below are the buttons you would find from your right list. For instance, create, change, delete, or others. For this example, we'll select all of the below by going out of this page and entering the letters of each of those options. We'll escape out of the second line. In the prohibited site section, you can also prohibit a user from having access to certain sites to do processes on. So if we click in the top, you can either select site grouping or site. If you want to have the user to have access to no sites, you can select site grouping. If you want to specify one specific site, you will select site. So for this example, we'll select site and we will tab away. In the grouping by site, click on the selection icon to specify a specific site. Select one of the sites below and escape out of the second line. So in the prohibited site as well as the authorized sites, if you do groupings only per site and not site grouping, you can have multiple sites that you can specify. So then we click OK from the right list. This will now create the function profile with the specific setup that's been done. So to go to function profile, click on close page. To go to function profile, click setup from the left list. In the navigation details, select function profile. In the left list, you will see that the function profile that's been created would be displayed. In the Access tab, the user can give access to all authorized functions by ticking the tick box. The user can give access for the user to have a fixed dashboard by ticking the tick box, as well as giving access to all access codes if access codes are set up within Sage X3. On the Sites tab, you will see a grid that displays all the modules within Sage X3 that can be found on the left list in the navigation screen. For each of these modules, a default site can be set up that when a user starts a new process, for instance a purchase order, that specific site will default in the site field. But the field can still then be changed if desired. On the Reports tab, a user can also be given access or restrictions to certain reports within Sage X3 simply by clicking on the drop down within the Access column and selecting yes or no from the drop down. If any modifications has been made to the Access, Sites or Reports tabs, the user can click on Save from the right list. If all authorized functions were ticked, this means that the user will have access to each and every function within Sage X3. If this was unticked, the access can then further be simplified by giving further access to certain functions within Sage X3. To do this, we can click on Authorizations from the right list. The functional authorization screen will be displayed. The left list will indicate each and every function within Sage X3 for the specific menu profile that has been created. So what we'll do is we'll use the purchase order function as an example to show how further access can be given to the function. So for profile code train, which is a training menu profile, we will go and we will search or enter the code for purchasing, and we will hit enter to filter on that specific code. We will then select the purchasing function code, and its function authorization will be displayed. So in the function section, we can see the function code as well as the module which it will affect, which is purchasing. So currently, the setup that's been done, as we've done in the functional profile section, where we gave access to all sites, but we have given a restriction to only one specific site. In the options section, we can then further restrict access to a specific user. So in the options column, click on the actions button and click on options. This will then display the options as we explained it in the functional profile screen. So if you want to have a user that has got full access to create a purchase order, change, delete, or close a purchase order, you will specify each of these letters within the options column. If you want to restrict it, For instance, to give a user just the functionality to create a purchase order and not to be able to change, delete, or close a purchase order, we can simply remove the letters and only put in create. So to do this, we'll close the following pop-up screen, and in the field we will simply remove the letters. We will only leave C, and we will click on save. So this means that for a specific user and the menu profile that's been created, the functional authorization that's been set up means that this user will only be able to create a purchase order, and he will not be authorized to make any changes, delete, or close a purchase order. If you want to give him full access again, you simply can click within the field again and add the letters. If you are unsure about what the options are, click on the Actions button, click on Options to display the pop-up screen with all the options. And we will click on Save. So in the left list we can remove the function that we called, and we will hit Enter to display all of the functions for that specific function profile code. So each and every function within Sage X3 can be set up this way. If you want to have a user that has got all of the access, we would have specified all of the options when we created the function profile. So we will close page to go back to the navigation screen.